asked for it.
Well, this is a matchup where Togwaggle is relevant.
None will survive.
An incredible discovery!
Double Arcanologist is good in the opening turns. The ice barriers suck, but I can draw them off the Arcanologists instead of, you know, from my deck for my regular draw. I guess I'll just play an ice barrier to get it out of the hand. Probably never even procs in this matchup. Card draw is good. I'm also liking how many cards he's holding in his hand. Makes the research project combos a little bit easier. Play another card draw thing, and I guess we're just gonna beat him up. We're almost through his armor.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
I have to imagine my deck doesn't get MC teched very often. But it did here. Up to 9 cards in hand. Just play this guy, actually. Probably doesn't get much better than that in this matchup. One of the good hero powers. Let's keep drawing cards. Frost Nova sucks in this matchup, so I'll throw it out. It's also kind of nice that the Worgen kills my Acolyte, so it can't get punished with too many draws. Damn. Well, I'm just gonna play Jaina here. She's pretty good.
Do not fear power. Fear those who wield it.
Light the fuses!
Never seen such a good kaboom hero power. Hey, my ice barrier procced. Crossbolt this guy and make him a water elemental. Maybe I get to draw a couple cards off of it. I don't think I want to burn a research project here, because I want to have it in hand for whenever I draw Togwaggle. He's got 10 cards, so it should be pretty easy to just drop the combo whenever I find it. Whoa, why did Luna live?
Behold the tools of creation. Behold the tools of creation.
I'll draw 3 cards if I play this. Alright.
Behold the tools of
There's
creation.
Togwaggle. So I still have 4 cards left in the deck, but they're all garbage, so If I can play Research Project Togwaggle next turn, I will.
Okay then.
Had to get the card out of his hand. But he needs to get 2 more out of his hand. Oh, that doesn't get cards out of your hand, friend. Alright, 9 cards in hand.
I'm almost out of cards.
So I give him a shooting star. Oh, he overdraws it, so I don't give him anything. He should be pretty dead here. Gonna play it out, huh?
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
Let's just make a water elemental.
Such a perfect specimen.
Water elementals are fun. So fun.
That's it. I'm out of cards.
Does this guy realize that I have 9 more cards in my deck than he does? I don't think I have to think that hard about what I'm doing for the rest of this game. I think the only possible way I could lose is if I just stopped doing things. He is able to slow down his fatigue by a bit by doing these things. But I just don't see how he ever thinks this is going to be good enough. I can even shield slam that. It's kind of funny. Phantom Militia, sure. So the opponent has 2 6/9 taunts, and I think there's probably still an Omega Assembly mech up there somewhere. Okay. Sure.
I will silence their screams.
Make this hit so that he can't just hero power down the Annoyatron. That way Baku, Annoyatron, and hero power kill the 6/8 and I make a water elemental. How's it feel, warrior, not being able to break through the armor? Bunch of mediocre stuff, but mediocre's fine. He did roll the Discovery Drone again. That's one of the better hero powers.
Light the fuses.
I'm not seeing a good way to make a water elemental here. other than just kill my own guy. So I'll probably just kill my own guy. Wow, these are terrible. Take a 9-drop. Nice and fat. Oh, okay. I feel like that game had been over for several turns.
Jaina versus Rexa.
Let the hunt begin.
You asked for it.
Probably don't want Stargazer Luna. I might just keep Jaina. Togwaggle's probably a pipe dream in this matchup. I think if I see a Devilsaur Egg, it's probably pretty reasonable to just concede, but we'll play it out and see if maybe Jaina can get there. And hey, sometimes he's Spell Hunter or Secret Hunter. Those are actual decks that people play for some reason. Eagle Hornbow actually isn't in the Deathrattle lists, is it? Maybe this is a Spell Hunter. In that case, this matchup is winnable, and I should probably try to win it. So do I win it by giving him cards? Probably fine. I do have another research project in the deck if it ever comes down to that. Ten cards in hand, so probably don't want to play Acolyte of Pain.
To my side.
Kill his Huffer, and I think I can pretty safely just play Acolyte. It looks like if it's dying here, it's getting one-shot by a bow. Otherwise, it's probably just not dying. Where are my arcane explosions and shooting stars when I need them? I don't really want to give him a card or a weapon charge out of Freezing Trap. Let's just go Blizzard into whichever one of these feels appropriate. Seemed like a really odd hunter's mark. Kinda wish he had gotten Huffer off of that to my side. Would have made Baron Geddon a lot more appealing here. But it probably is Geddon, unless I pick up an explosion or something here. Alright. So it doesn't kill the Huffer, or the Misha or the Leok, but he probably has to send the Misha into it anyway. Wonder if he's willing to eat 7 here. Yeah, eating 7's probably pretty safe. So I can coin out Jaina here. The question is the Worgen Abomination better? I think I'm a big fan of coin Jaina.
Do not fear.
She's powerful.
Fear those who
Can always Worgen Abomination these guys next turn. But I also threaten to make water elementals, makes his turn a little bit more awkward. Alright. So, the fact that he traded into the water elemental slows him down a lot. It does make the abomination quite a bit less good, but that's probably just fine. Do I want to just play him here to kill Leok? Can also just draw some cards here. I've drawn both my ice barriers, so the Arcanologist doesn't look very appealing, but I do have an Arcane Intellect. I guess I can also just play a Celestial Emissary and make it a water elemental. I have 3 spell damage things in hand, and he has 1 Spellstone dead already, so I shouldn't need too much AoE. Although maybe it'll be good against his Zombeasts.
Time melts away.
I think I just want to make a water ele here. And I'll probably drop the 5 mana Acolyte. Let's investigate this secret. Ooh, that turns my Acolyte into a water elemental. So I need to find a way to spend 8 mana. Probably involves an Arcane Intellect. Well, I guess this thing's always getting water LE'd, so we'll see what I draw. Another Shooting Star. 10 cards in hand. So how about Arcane Intellect, Ice Barrier, and Arcanologist? Assuming I don't draw something better here. Seems like I'll overdraw if I play the Acolyte. Blizzard was a really good pickup. It does 4 damage, but then I can follow up with a Shooting Star to deal with these 5 health dudes. I'm also noticing that my opponent is keeping a lot of cards in his hand, so the Togwaggle dream is probably not too much of a dream. This dude is a big fan of stealth. Alright, let's just do this. The Explosion was a really good pickup. All his guys are stealthed, so obviously I can't target them with Shooting Star, but Arcane Explosion doesn't need to target. It's also seeming like he might just die. Getting pretty low over there. So this definitely looks like an explosion turn. I don't think there's a reasonable way for me to make a water elemental here. Oh, I guess I just make it off this guy, huh? So probably this guy, Explosion, Hero Power, then just drop an Arcane Intellect along with it. Or maybe I just try to drop an Acolyte into another Explosive Trap. Or hell, I can even just go Shooting Star, Worgen Abomination. Those cards are a little bit more difficult to use. Maybe I should use them. It does kill my Water Elemental. But maybe my Water Elemental's dying here anyway. I think I like this. This guy did 8 damage there, I think. Seems pretty solid. That's why we held the Explosion. There's second research project, so I probably do want to try to hold that for Togwaggle, but I guess I just don't really care at this point, huh? He's just dead here pretty often. Alright. I guess I can just beat him up sometimes. So you may have noticed that I ended up cutting Luna's Pocket Galaxy from my Luna's Pocket Galaxy deck. And that's because it's just a little bit too slow and clunky. And the top end I was playing originally, I think it just didn't have nearly enough payoffs in the matchups where you weren't going for the Togwaggle Azalina combos. So I decided to trim things down a bit, cut the Pocket Galaxy, cut the Azalina, cut the Malagos, and then just try to stick with a research project King Togwaggle combo. I figured in most of the matchups where that was your win condition, that was probably just good enough. I even had games where I played Luna's Pocket Galaxy, and going for research project Togwaggle was just better than the Azalina combo. And by cutting some of that big stuff, we get to play some cheaper stuff that's good against aggro. I added a 2 Arcanologist, 2 Ice Barrier package. And I don't think this Blood Mage Thalnos was in the original list, but it seems pretty good with my 6 spell damage AoE cards. In the end, the deck didn't perform too well. I was a little bit over 40%. And the problem is that you just have too many unwinnable matchups. Like Quest Rogue and Deathrattle Hunter you just straight up cannot beat. I originally thought you would have at least reasonable odds against Malygos or Togwaggle Druid, because they do hover around 8 or 9 cards pretty often, so you can just get him with Research Project and King Togwaggle. But it turns out that they just draw cards way better than you, and I even had games where I stole 10 of their cards, and then after I did that they just played Malygos, Break Their Twig, Double Swipe, Double Moonfire, steal a third of their deck, and they still just have their win condition. Maybe over more games the matchup would be more even, but I lost it like 5 times. But you do have some pretty good matchups. I think the deck is quite good against Zoo, Odd Rogue, Odd Paladin. Not nearly as good against Aggro Mage because you don't play that much healing. You do also beat Odd Warrior. That was the only slow deck that I felt pretty good against. But the real question to ask is, does this deck have any merit over just playing Big Spell Mage? And I think the conclusion is probably not. Dragon's Fury is a hell of a card, and you obviously can't play it in this list. And I'm not really sure what matchups you would prefer this deck over a more standard control mage. I think maybe like Shutterwalk Shaman this deck is better against than a standard Big Spell Mage. Maybe even against like Control Warlock this deck is better. But those decks just aren't a significant enough portion of the metagame for it to matter.